Kia ora everyone, my name is Danny Ferrier and I'd really like to just take this moment to talk about setting up expectations. It's something I've noticed time and time again with new business owners and with new leaders, that they have to learn how to set really clear expectations. And maybe that's not a common thing within their upbringing, or maybe there's just a bit of fear around hurting people's feelings. So I'd love to just dive into the 3 steps that I've noticed to be able to set really clear expectations. Now, I run a house with 19 people that live here. We live in a castle community. And it's really interesting because I've learned so much about the growth process when I'm giving instructions to our woofers or just having to set up expectations with the tenants. And the massive mind shift for me was taking responsibility for those expectations, because it's so easy to blame the other person for not understanding and not doing it. But the other person doesn't need to change. I needed to change. I needed to learn. And so for me, expectation setting is a constant back and forth, to and fro. Nobody has made it and they're the best expectation setter ever. It's a constant dance. It's like doing the cha-cha, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. You might realize that you could have set expectations in a different way, and then the next time you strive to be better. And that's wonderful. And remembering that when we're setting expectations for someone and someone falls short of those expectations, if we haven't articulated them, that's our fault. And if we have articulated them and they fall short of them, nobody died. Nobody died. Because it's so easy to get really annoyed, and there might be money involved and there might be a bit of a fudge up. But I think that in the grand scheme of things, it can't be that bad. We can just allow ourselves to sit with the fact that next time we will set up better expectations and we will be clearer. And clarity is the thing that I want to emphasize here. And from clarity comes a bit of what I call D energy, dominant energy. And New Zealanders are really good at people pleasing and also good at beating around the bush. So we don't want to get too fluffy. We want to make sure that we say it as it is. As a leader, we need to make sure that people are understanding what we're saying. And in order for that to happen, we need to give them super clear articulation and make sure that it is what we truly mean. So there's a couple of steps. The first step is knowing what your expectations are, knowing what the outcome of the project is, and being able to articulate that really clearly. So take some time. Figure out what your expectations are for that person who you're managing, and then you can voice them and articulate them. The next step is to make sure that you are asking great questions to check in to see if they've understood. There's no point in saying, this is my expectations, and then the meeting's over and they leave, and there's actually a lot of questions, and maybe there's not that emotional buy-in. Maybe they don't understand the big picture. Maybe they don't understand the why they're actually having to do it in your way, in that particular way. So checking in. And the questions I like to use are, what are you taking away from this? What are you understanding? What's your interpretation? Or even, how would you do this differently? And that emotional buy-in, that time to create connection with that person is really important, because we all see the world through different filters, through the lens of our upbringing. And it never ceases to surprise me how many ways people can see the same thing and interpret it differently. The last one is making sure that you have a support system in place so that they feel supported, so that they know that they can come to you. I call this the open door policy. You don't want to micromanage them, but you want to check in on them. You want to make sure that they know that you care. How are you going with that project? Give me a little update. That doesn't need to be, tell me everything about exactly how you're doing it, but just some little check-in to know that they're supported. If this message is resonating with you and you'd like to hear more, there's a beautiful model that I use called the Critical Alignment Model, and it's a framework for thinking, and I use it every single day in my business. It's a super powerful tool and I'd love to teach it to you. So reach out if you're interested and we can set up a session.